Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Boyd. I'm the City of Oakland's Communications Director. Thank you for joining us today. We wanted to bring together city officials and Oakland School District officials to talk about yesterday's horrific shooting at King Estates campus. We have here today Mayor Libby Schaaf, Oakland Police Chief LeRonne Armstrong, Department of Violence Prevention Chief Guillermo Cespedes, and John Sasaki from the Oakland Unified School District. And without further ado, Mayor Schaaf.
Thank you. We're gathered together this morning to provide an update to yet another horrific school shooting in America. There is something about when gun violence violates the sanctity of our children's schools that rocks us to our cores, and it should. Every big city mayor is tired of having press conferences like the one that we are having right now. We are tired of recognizing that despite the heroic efforts at local levels, that we cannot solve this epidemic of gun violence without federal action. And so once again, like so many other mayors in America, I call on the obstructionists in Congress to take real action against this unbridled psychosis of violence in our country and the unacceptable and unbridled access to assault weapons in our cities. I want to acknowledge that Oakland, California has long struggled with gun violence and has made incredible progress. We have been recognized recently by the White House as having the second best robust and evidence-based violence prevention program in the country. And yet we will never be able to address this alone or in isolation without federal leadership. Now, while we wait for that action to happen, we will do what we do best here in Oakland, California, and that is wrap our arms around these communities that have been traumatized by yet another incident of senseless gun violence. We will provide healing and support and continue to work to change the conditions both at the community level and the individual level to ensure that people do not resort to violence. And I will just say, as both a mayor and a mother myself of high school students, we have to do better. We have to continue to demand the people who hold the most power to change things like what happened yesterday to take that action. With that, I will turn it over to Chief LeRonne Armstrong to provide an update on the incident and the investigation. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to extend my heartfelt sympathy to those who were victims of yesterday's shooting, but also to the students, the staff, parents, and the entire Oakland community. Like the mayor said, it saddens us to have to come before you again to speak about another tragic incident like this. The original call that the Oakland Police Department received came in at 12:45 hours, where our communication division received multiple calls of shooters and possible barricaded suspects in the 8200 block of Fontaine Street on the King Estate School campus, which houses 4 schools: Baytech, Rugsdale Alternative High School, Rugsdale Newcomer School, as well as Sojourner Truth School. Once on scene, OPD officers, Alameda County Sheriff's deputies, and California Highway Patrol officers quickly assessed the scene as an active shooter scene with victims on the campus. Our officers immediately made entry into the school and attempted to first address any possible individuals who were shooting or involved in this incident, to provide medical aid to those that may have been injured, and also to rescue and evacuate those that may have still been on campus. The law enforcement officers on campus were able to quickly summons ambulances to come for those that have been injured. They were also able to clear the campus of all students. We realized quickly that shooters did not appear to continue to be on campus, but the campus was immediately locked down. I want to give a tremendous thanks to the heroic efforts of all of our law enforcement officers who didn't wait, but immediately went in to try to save any lives that they could on a campus, to make sure that our students were safe and to make sure that we did our best to apprehend those that were responsible for the shooting. In all, 6 individuals sustained gunshot wounds. All 6 have connection to the school. 3 are currently in the hospital. 2 of the victims are suffering from serious conditions. 2 are in stable condition. Sorry, 1 is in stable condition and 3 have been released from the hospital. 2 of the victims are students. 1 is a counselor, 1 is a security guard, and 2 others work at the school. We know that there were at least 2 shooters and another accomplice related to this case, but they may have been more. We also know that there were over 30 rounds fired on this campus. That is wholly unacceptable. We thank God that many more students were not injured as a result of this action. When we arrived at the school, there were a need for keys to enter certain classrooms. Our officers did not wait to receive keys. They used breaching tools in order to enter every classroom and conduct a thorough search of the entire campus to ensure no individual were barricaded on the campus and the entire campus was safe. We do believe that this incident is group and gang related. We believe that our ceasefire teams have been working closely on all of the groups and gangs in Oakland, and we believe that this is related to ongoing conflicts in our city that has driven violence throughout our city, and we'll continue to follow up on leads to identify those responsible. We thank the public for all the information that they've shared thus far. We ask that you continue to bring forth information to help us identify the people responsible for this heinous crime. You can call us at 510-238-3821, the Oakland Police Department's homicide sections, with any tips or information you'd like to share. And with that, I'll pass it over to Chief Guillermo Cespedes from our Department of Violence Prevention.
Thank you very much, Chief Armstrong. First of all, my sympathies go out to all of the families that have suffered losses, not just yesterday, but throughout the year. This is absolutely unacceptable, as the mayor says. We get to see the best and the worst moments of Oakland in the Department of Violence Prevention, because we do meet immediately with those victims of violence, as we did yesterday. When the call came in of the shooting at the school, I responded to the scene along with 5 members of my staff. We also mobilized nonprofits that we fund with the purpose of doing 3 things. Respond to the scene, and the first goal is to assess any potential retaliation. We don't stop retaliation. We stop retaliation through relationship building. So that's one of the goals in responding to the scene. The second one is to reduce the trauma to families and communities. We know that when people are traumatized, violence reproduces itself. And as the mayor says, this is a multi-generational problem that we're trying to interrupt. And then the third point, the third reason for responding is that we want all communities to know that city government is present when there is a traumatic event such as a shooting. The Department of Violence Prevention looked at data and anticipated, as we were going through the early and the mid point phases of the pandemic, the school systems will be affected as the community systems were as a result of the pandemic. Therefore, we took action about 1.5 years ago by redirecting funding from the general fund that was allocated to the Department of Violence Prevention to establish 7 teams at local high schools, and each team made up of a violence interrupter, a life coach, and a gender-based violence specialist. Those teams have been meeting and coordinating their work including they were all present at the scene yesterday, and we had coordination meetings right then and there. In addition, the Department of Violence Prevention pursued philanthropic funding as well as state funding to enhance the services that we're providing to the schools. So we're thankful that the Gilead Science Foundation provided us funding to focus on those students who may not yet be involved in serious violence, but show all the risk factors. We want to get to them before they become necessarily a ceasefire client, if you will. We call that fireproofing. And then we also receive state funding to focus on the population that is most at risk, that is already involved in violence. So all these actions were taken anticipating this problem. While we responded yesterday, we hope that we have to respond less and less. We're thankful for the mayor for the support of our work. And I just want to make a point that our response to crime scenes are not done in isolation. We coordinate our efforts at the crime scene with law enforcement. The crime scene is the domain of law enforcement, so there's much coordination that takes place on the ground. Our goal is to connect with families. We do not get involved in the investigative process, but we're there to connect with families and to support community at every single incident of violence throughout the city. Again, my sympathies to all of the families that have suffered losses throughout this year. The Department of Violence Prevention is working very hard to minimize the impact of those losses. And with that, I would like to pass it over to John Sasaki from the OUSD leadership team. And we're very proud to be working with the district on strategies to reduce violence within the school.
Thank you, Chief Cespedes, and thank you all for being here today. And I want to echo the words of all of our colleagues here today, the mayor, chief. Obviously what happened yesterday was a devastating occurrence in our schools. It was a devastating occurrence in our city. And frankly, it's a devastating occurrence in our nation. This should not be happening in 2022. Kind of echoing what the mayor said, we spend what, $750 billion a year on national defense. And this is at the very base, the national defense, protecting our children, making sure that our schools are safe, making sure that our communities are safe so that kids can grow up and live healthy, prosperous lives. That's what we're all about. That's what we do every day in OUSD, trying to help project our kids into the world to be the leaders of tomorrow. And it's impossible to do when something like this happens. This makes it so difficult to do the most basic things. Our colleagues here just mentioned the trauma that our kids go through. Can you imagine the kind of recovery you have to just get in and study and learn in school when you have to deal with this kind of trauma? We know that this is going to affect a lot of people in our school over at the King State campus for a long time. In the meantime, we're going to provide them support. We're doing that today. As I mentioned last night to the media, our schools are closed on that campus today. And they will, at least for the time being, remain closed because of the fact that we have to repair a lot of damage on that campus that occurred yesterday. The chief mentioned some of that maybe because of the police having to get in some of the rooms, but also, as you know, there was a shooting on campus with, as the chief said, almost 36 rounds fired off, and those obviously caused damage as well. So I want to say from our staff, from our students, from our community, we appreciate the support from the city. We appreciate the quick response by the police. We appreciate all of our other partners for getting things under control very quickly there and providing support to people who need it. We also want to thank our other partners in the community like Youth Uprising, UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital for stepping up, ready to help support with mental health care and other forms of support for all the people that really need it. Our district is ready and stepping up right now to do that as well. So that will continue in the coming days and quite likely a lot longer than that, and we're going to need it. And so we as a school district call on anybody at all that thinks that this kind of action is the way to resolve any kind of problem that you have, you are wrong. This is not the way to do it. It could be you, it could be your friends, it could be your loved ones, it could be your family. this can affect everyone, and we want it to stop. So we look forward to the partnership with all of everybody present here today, including the media, to get us as a city to a better place. So thank you all for joining us, and I'll pass it back to the mayor.
Actually, with that, we will take questions. We know many people are on this call, but we are only taking questions from the media. And Karen Boyd, the city's PIO, will manage that process. Karen.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So if you could please raise your hand, use the raise hand function. That'll put you to the top of the list, and then we will call on you. If you would also please state your name clearly and your media affiliation. And again, if you're not with the media, we're not going to be taking your questions at this time. Thank you. So I see Stephanie Kate. Could you please identify your media outlet? Stephanie, are you there? Let's come back. Elihu Commissioner.
Yes, hi. It's Eliyahu Kamishar. I'm from the Mercury News and the East Bay Times. I'm wondering, can you give any details on the suspected shooters? Are they students as well? And have police made any arrests in this investigation of this incident?
We have not identified the shooters in this incident. We don't know their connection to the school, and we have not made any arrests as of yet.
I think you're muted, Karen.
Thanks, John. Coming back now to Stephanie Kate. Stephanie, are you with us? Okay, Jacob Rogers.
Yes, thank you. Just to be sure, so there was mention of a need for a session on assault.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you please state your media affiliation?
Jacob Rogers with the Mercury News, East Bay Times. Is there any sense of what weapons were used in this? Were assault weapons such as AR-15s used in this? And did the shooters actually get inside of the school, or where did the shooting actually take place yesterday?
Based on the evidence that we've recovered so far, it does not appear that assault weapons were used in this case. It appears that there were handguns, but most likely some extended magazine, which will be illegal based on the number of rounds that we recovered from one particular caliber. And we do know that they did breach the front of the school, so they did make entry into the front portion of the school.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Henry, is that Henry Lee? I don't see any last name.
Yes, can you guys hear me? I'm not sure about the setup.
We can, thank you, Henry.
Gotcha. Yes, Henry Lee from KTVU. Thank you for taking my question. Just for anyone, can you go with the victimology? Can you confirm that John, maybe a couple of carpenters were working on a fence at that school complex? Can we say, was it one or more security guards with which campus? And as far as the students, confirming we are talking about adult students, perhaps over 18 from the continuation part of that school, and which campus are they or he or she from?
Let me make one note. I mentioned this to the media last night. I was wrong when I referred to Rudsdale as two campuses, and Chief, just want to let you know this as well. Rudsdale is actually one school on the campus. It has two programs, the newcomer and the continuation part. That it was consolidated. It wasn't something that was made aware. I wasn't aware of that, so I apologize about that. But with regard to anything having to do with the investigation, I'm going to pass it off to Chief Armstrong.
Yeah, Henry, like we said, there are two students at the school. We will not give any information as to what campus they are from. They were on the King of States campus and are students of the school there. I won't give out the particular ages of those individuals as well as their students, and we'll continue to protect their information.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Ali Tadayan.
Hi, just to follow up on that last question, were they over 18? Were they adults? That was reported, and then I've seen some stuff saying otherwise.
Yes, all victims were adults 18 and over. I just will not be sharing students' information over the air.
Thank you. Alice Wirtz. Alice, are you with us? Here we go. Okay, we'll come back to Alice. Ashley McBride.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. My name is Ashley. I'm with the Oakland side. So the Oakland School Police Department was disbanded a few years ago, and I'm curious about what their presence was like on OUSD campuses and what is the likelihood that OSPD could have intervened in this situation?
Is that directed at me? Yeah, okay, sorry about that. You know, it really is speculation. Because of the George Floyd situation that happened a few years back, the community called for us to, and the Board of Education elected to dissolve the police department within OUSD, starting with the 21-22 school year. And so that was the decision that they made. With regard to what, you know, if we still had a police department, what that could have meant yesterday, I mean, honestly, it's speculation. So I really can't give an answer there. And I don't know the chief would either.
Thanks, John. Coming back to Alice Wirtz. Alice? Okay, I'm gonna move on to Keith Burbank.
Hi, thank you, Keith Burbank with Bay City News. I have a couple questions, please. I was wondering, Chief, if the was the shooting, do you believe it was targeted? Were the shooters looking to injure the people they shot at? And number two, I think, did you say it was at least 2 shooters or was it 2? I'm sorry, I missed that. Thank you.
Yes, we do believe that this shooting was targeted. We do believe that there was an intended target. We do believe that the individuals that were shot were not the targets, but we are still looking into all of the evidence at this time. So it's early in investigation. We do know that this is connected to a group and gang conflict. We do believe at this time that there were at least 2 shooters that we've been able to identify through video, not the identities of them, but we've seen a video that captured 2 specific shooters and 1 driver. But we know that we had calls that there could have been up to 4. So we're not ruling out that there may not have been additional people on campus. And so we're looking through all of the evidence at this time to confirm, but we do know that there was a minimum of 2 shooters.
Thank you, Chief. Rachel Swan.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you so much for taking my question. I have a kind of a 2-pronged question, and this is for both the district and for police. We'd like to know if there have been previous violent incidents at the school, and if you had any indication that a shooting or another violent incident might happen. And we also wanted to see if we can confirm that a gun was found at the school in the past couple of weeks.
Chief, you want to take that?
Yes, we have responded to the school, responded to previous incidents at the school involving a firearm. Our officers did make an arrest in an incident that occurred in August. We did not have any information that would lead us to believe that there was going to be a shooting on campus. So we did not have that information in advance. We obviously responded to the call once it came in that there were multiple shootings happening on campus. And so no information was before, but we did have a prior incident on campus about a month ago involving a firearm.
Okay, Chief, thank you. Rob Nesbitt.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Okay, I'm Rob Nesbitt. I'm a reporter at Cron 4 News. I'm wondering, with the actual area of this campus, can you describe where you believe the shooting took place, whether it was an entrance in a certain building or in multiple places?
From the evidence that we've reviewed so far, it appears that the shooting took place at the entry point of the school. They breached the entry point, entering the school, and then it appears, based on the video that we have, that multiple rounds were fired. But again, it's early in the investigation. We're still reviewing other video throughout the campus and in the area. So I think in the coming days, we'll be able to confirm if that was the only location where shots were fired.
Okay, thank you. Next, Tim Johns.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great. This is Tim from ABC 7 News. I have a couple of questions. Firstly, following up on that last question, Chief, did you guys respond to an incident regarding a stabbing as well about a month ago, or was it just a firearm?
We responded to a call about a month ago, almost a month and a half ago, regarding a stabbing and a firearm involved incident.
Okay. And was the door locked, or how did they breach entry into the school? Were the shots fired actually inside the building, or was it just around? Do you have more details on that, please?
We're looking into how they got into the school, but the video that we do see the suspects entering the front of the campus. And so we're not sure at this point how they entered, if the door was unlocked or if it was already open. Those are the things that we'll confirm within our investigation, but it does not look like they breached the school or used any tools to breach or enter the school.
Okay, thank you. We have a request from Kelsey Valle. Can you'd like to have your questions answered by the mayor and/or Chief Cespedes in Spanish? Can we do that, or do you want to do that at the end, Mayor and Chief?
Whatever works best.
Okay, Chief.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Go ahead, Kelsey.
Yeah, we were just wondering if Mayor Schaaf or Chief Cespedes could make some Spanish remarks to the community in relation to this crime, and what's the plan moving forward?
¿Cuál fue la segunda parte de la pregunta, por favor?
¿Y cuál es el plan para el futuro en resolver este crimen?
Bueno, primeramente el plan para el futuro es seguir estableciendo vínculos que nos ayuden a negociar el proceso de retribución entre grupos. Estas son relaciones que se establecen a nivel comunitario, no a través del Departamento de Policía, sino el Departamento de Prevención de Violencia. Entonces seguiremos esa batalla de ponernos en contacto con las personas en la comunidad que nos pueden ayudar a eliminar la retribución. Plan número 1. Plan número 2, seguir respondiendo a las familias que están traumatizadas y a las comunidades por estos eventos que siguen sucediendo. Como dijo la alcaldesa, nos hace falta ayuda de parte del gobierno federal y del gobierno estatal para poder tener más recursos para enfrentarnos a esta epidemia de violencia que tiene mucho que ver con esto de tener armas de fuego demasiadamente presente en las comunidades donde trabajamos. Quiero decir bien claramente, las personas que están cometiendo violencia en Oakland es un pequeñito porcentaje de la población en general. No es todo Oakland, no son todas las comunidades, no son todos nuestros hijos, son un pequeño número de personas. Nos hace falta identificar a esas personas y rehabilitarlos. Si tiene alguna otra pregunta, le puedo contestar. Muchas gracias.
Estamos bien, muchas gracias.
Ok, y para mí, como la alcaldesa de Oakland y también una madre de hijos, hoy es un otro día triste para esta comunidad. La enferma de violencia en las calles, pero ahora en nuestras escuelas no es aceptable. Y otra vez llamo al Congreso y el gobierno federal para acción, a parar estas pistolas en las calles, a parar la enferma de violencia en los hijos y la gente. Pero ahora, en Oakland, es mi trabajo, el trabajo de los líderes de esta ciudad, a ayudar con el sandar. Esta comunidad necesita sandar por este trágico. Gracias.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, call on Momo Chang. If you could please identify your media outlet, please, for the group.
Thank you. Hi, this is Momo from Oakland Voices. Can you hear me okay? Okay, thank you. My question, and I believe the chief just mentioned that there is video footage. So my question was if there's video footage of the shooting or before, after, and if that will be released to the public.
Yeah, right now we're still early in investigation and collecting all of the video. We are still reviewing all of the video to see if we can identify the individuals that we see in the video involved in this incident. I think after we conclude that part of our investigation, I think we will be releasing video to the public and asking for the public's help in identifying the individuals on the video who are involved in this incident. So it will be forthcoming.
Thank you, Chief. Jill Tucker.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Thank you. Jill Tucker from the San Francisco Chronicle. John, I'm wondering if you could answer, given past incidents and obviously knowledge that there are gang issues related to this school, what actions did the district take perhaps to increase security or other types of things at the school to perhaps prevent this type of incident or the incidents previously of the stabbing and the gun on campus? It does sound like perhaps that the doors were open so that, there's some indication perhaps that the security was not anticipating this type of incident.
Jill, with regard to exactly what we've done at the school to protect students, protect staff, protect the campus, I can't get into that right now. This is something that we're still discussing internally, and of course, we're reviewing what was in place as we are, kind of on a regular basis, reviewing security measures that are in place at all of our schools. But at some point later, I can fill you in a little bit more on that.
Great, thanks, John. I'm going to read two questions, one for Chief Armstrong and one for you, John. We'll start with you, John, since you're there. These are from Stephanie at ABC7. How would you describe the overall response from school staff? And are all school staff at King Estates campus in compliance with the required active shooter training?
I would say that the school staff and the students responded very quickly yesterday. They handled an extremely difficult, frightening, high stress, traumatic incident with speed, with efficiency. The staff got students into classrooms and locked down. When it came to the people that were injured, they got them medical care very, very quickly. We got the police there very quickly. So I would say that the staff especially, but also the students acted heroically yesterday in getting the situation to a point where the people who were not directly affected, not injured, were protected and safe. And that the people who were directly affected, injured, were getting care very, very quickly. So it was one of those situations where I think that the lockdown procedures were followed exactly as they should be, and we applaud our staff for doing that.
Great, thank you, John. And now for you, Chief Armstrong. On Tuesday, you announced the department will restart the traffic enforcement unit. Can you explain what this unit does, and would they have been assigned to respond to schools in the area?
Yes, well, we are assigning a team of officers to begin to conduct more traffic enforcement stops to make sure that traffic safety is a focus in our main thoroughfares, where we know our Department of Transportation has identified specific areas where are high injury networks, where collisions are occurring. So our officers will be deployed in those areas to make sure that those areas are safe for drivers. But when it comes to a school shooting, all law enforcement is going to respond and is expected to respond who are nearby. And so doesn't matter what assignment they were in, they will respond. And as you've seen yesterday with the overwhelming response that we had as a department to immediately get to the school and immediately begin to address this incident, I think it's clear that we have trained our officers, and they are clearly trained to respond when they hear in a school incident and on how to handle a school-related incident. And so appreciate the staff that broke from whatever they were doing to make sure the campus was safe and that we were addressing that issue on King of State's campus.
Great, thank you, Chief. Juan Carlos Lara.
Hello, I was hoping to get an update on the victims. I know that 2 of them had life-threatening injuries, and I wanted to know how they are.
Juan Carlos, can you identify your media outlet, please?
Yeah, sorry, Juan Carlos Lara, KQED News.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, 2 are in critical but stable condition. 1 is in stable condition, and 3 have been released from the hospital.
Okay, great. Thank you. Olga Rodriguez. Olga, okay. Jackson.
I was just allowed to unmute myself.
Okay, there you go.
This is Olga Rodriguez with the Associated Press. And I wanted to ask you, Chief Armstrong, if you can say whether you said it was a targeted shooting, gang related, but the victims were not the targets. Can you clarify then who were the targets? And you said the shooting started outside and then it went inside the building. Were the shooters following someone? And I don't know if you can tell us whether the 2 students are members of the newcomer program or the continuation program at Rutzdale.
Yeah, I'll say that from the evidence that we've reviewed so far, it appears that the shooters came into the front entry of the school. They identified an individual or individuals that they were looking to target, and they begin to fire. I think we clearly, see from the video that they didn't make it deep into the school. It seems like they breached the front of the school and then immediately begin to fire. We're trying to determine which individual that they were targeting, but we do know that they were coming up there intending to take some violent action against someone, and we don't know what precipitated the initial shooting. So I think those are things that we're currently looking into, but based on what we have now, it clearly looks like immediately upon entering the school, they begin to fire.
Thanks, Chief. Jackson Vanderbecken.
Yeah, hi. There's been a report that there was some communications with victims indicating that encouraging them not to speak to the police. This is coming from police inside Oakland or made this allegation. I'm not sure what supposedly in a text message format. Do you guys have any comment about that? Is that standard for the school district to do that? And for what basis would that be done?
Jackson, if you're asking me if our school told students not to talk to the police, that is not correct.
And Jackson, if you're speaking from the Oakland Police Department, we have not put out any information that we have received yet that that message was sent out to staff or people. We are I'm not aware of that at this point.
Okay, thank you. I see a general KCBS newsroom, and I think Alice Wirtz was having trouble, so maybe we can get her through the newsroom.
Oh, hi. This is actually Margie Schaefer. I'm with KCBS. Can you hear me okay?
Great, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so just first a clarification on the 2 victims that are in serious condition. Can you just give a descriptor? Are these both the students or one counselor, one student?
I'm not giving the individuals, specifically which individuals are in the hospital to protect their safety, but 2 individuals are in critical but stable condition, and then 1 individual is in stable condition. I think it's important that we don't identify who they are, because this is an ongoing investigation, and the individuals who are responsible for this are still out in our community armed and dangerous.
Thank you. Eloise. Eloise? Okay. Okay, can you hear us? Okay, I will come back. Let's see. Amy Larson.
Hi, this is Amy Larson with Cron 4 News. There's been some confusion over which school the shooting happened in because there's that cluster there on the campus. So I just wanted to ask, which school specifically did the shooting happen in?
Yeah, based on our investigation, it appears to be the Rugsdale School.
Okay, I'm going to take 2 more. Dan Noyes. Dan, are you there?
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you? Okay, great. I'm being told that police have actually acquired text messages from some of the shooting victims' phones in which school officials tell them not to cooperate with police. I know the chief said that they are not releasing information, but has the department acquired text messages from the victims' phones from school officials telling them not to cooperate?
Again, I will not speak to specific information within our investigation. I will say our investigation will be thorough, it will be complete, and we will exhaust all options to figure out what happened on this campus. But at this time, I will not speak to any evidence that we've recovered at this time.
Thank you, Chief. And then last question, I'm coming back to Stephanie Kate. Stephanie, are you there? Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody joining us today. If you do have follow-up questions, you can reach out to me, Karen Boyd, kboyd@oaklandca.gov, or to the OPD media team. Any final remarks? I want to thank you for joining us today. Stay safe.